Hello everyone and welcome back to UE5 BP Guru. Today we're going to be looking at using moves in battle, and basically it's going to be very similar to some of the other stuff we've done in the past, but what we're going to be doing is just showing you the general code and kind of how I came to do that. We'll give you a brief little look at it. I will need to pick up some healing items, so let's just go over here, grab a few of these. I'm pretty sure one of these is healing balm or burn heal, one or the other. Now I haven't done things like the text boxes or anything like that. It's just a case of I've got some graze heal and some burn heal, phenomenal, that will work well. So let's go and grab our boy Tailflame, because he'll be able to stand up a bit more of a fight against another Tailflame. Let's go into here. Let's do this. I need to change this widget as well, make it look a bit better. Lots of sort of little minimal improvements I need to make. So here we go. We've got our character. Here we go. He's going to send out Tailflame 2. I need to improve my cameras as well. So I'm going to try and flare this other Tailflame. And hopefully, he's only got the one move, so he should hopefully flare me back. There we go. And we've been burned. And we've also been injured. So after this is finished doing what it's doing, we'll go back to our inventory, and I'm going to heal that burn up, because I don't really want to be burned. I don't want to be losing health every turn. So let's use burn heal, and you can see by the little object here on the left hand side, I was reburnt. That's fine. But we're very low on health, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use one of my grey sprays and heal myself back up. There we go, and he's obviously going to burn me, but I'm not going to take as much damage now, so I'm going to re-attack him. So you can see now with the use of items, kind of our battle code now has almost done a complete sort of finish. We've kind of finished it now, other than tweaking things and sort of changing the flow of the battle, maybe slow things down, obviously rejig the widgets and things like that. We now pretty much have got a full battle system in play, which is great. So we're going to look at how I did this. And we win. Yay. So, and obviously you can see up here, I need to change this percentage bar as well, because it doesn't seem to be full correctly. So there's some things here I need to fix, obviously, for my game, but the raw code is in place, which is great. So the first thing we need to do is I'm going to get the widgets up first. Now I've got to remember where they are. Widgets. And we'll open up our battle widget, and we also need to open up our battle proxy as well. So, but we'll go for the widget first. Now, similar to the other setups we have, you see here I've created 4 buttons here. This is what I was doing last in this. And that is our inventory slot. So inventory slot 1, 2, 3, and 4 from our battle thing. But obviously if you're just using your inventory, you'll open up your inventory and select the item you want. I would do that differently, but you know, if you're following along how I'm doing my process, obviously, you know, you'll see it as it is. So the first thing we do is the same thing we do on all the other ones, like our capture slots and things like that, is we have, that's the party. Where is the inventory one? It's here. There we go. So we have an inventory button. We click on that and we set our item slot to active. And the reason for that is so that, you know, it creates that specific menu section. So in this instance, we are creating our item buttons so that we can click on them. And so when we click this item slot to true, we set everything else to false. That means if it's false, it will make all those things disappear, and means we can't use those buttons and things like that. So we set that menu to active. Now, obviously, if the item slot is already active, so we come off to true, we're just setting ourselves to false. So it's kind of allowing us to do that check to see what is actually active when we click a button. So for example, if you come up to our party slot, we want to swap our creature out. It checks to see if the party is active. Now, if the item slot is active, it's obviously going to come back false. So it'll set all of those ones to false and set this one to active. So a very similar thing with the inventory slot. So yeah, if it's already true, we just hide the buttons basically. That's all that does. But if it's false, we set everything else to false and we set this one to active. And we basically set everything else to hidden. So all of our other buttons go to hidden. So the capture buttons, the party slot buttons, and the move slot buttons all go to hidden because we don't want to use them. And then we get our character reference. We get our trainer information. And we are pulling out that battle slots. That's what we're doing. We're running that through a for each loop. Again, you'll probably be like, we've done all this in the capture slots. It's exactly the same thing. And all we're doing is we're seeing if this array index equals 0, 1, 2, or 3. And we're doing this on a sequence because we need to run it for every one to make sure we're setting the right information and we're not missing anything. Because, for example, if it hit the array and we weren't checking for 0 first, and going through it, it wouldn't find the right location for each individual item. It's just going to run through it and find one. Essentially, it's just going to break. So we do this on a sequence, and then we're doing a branch check for each one, equaling its array index to 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. The reason we start at 0, as always, is because the array always sits at 0 first, and then goes up to 1, 2, 3. So if you do 1, 2, 3, and 4, you'll be missing an item, because it'll just basically cut over that 0 and there'll be nothing in 4. We also need to break this array element to get the item information so we can set its information. So those things we're setting are the text is the only thing we really need to set in this scenario, and we're setting it to its name, and then we're just setting everything to visible. So the item, the button and the text need to all go to visible. That's all we need to do for this section. And once we have our buttons active, we'll have 4 new buttons we can press. So again, exactly the same thing as the capture buttons here. We're going to get each button individually. And if we're pressing 1, we're going to set the item slot to 0. If we're pressing the second button, we're setting it to 1, 3, 2, and then 4 is 3. And then we're going to get all actors of our battle proxy. It should only ever be 1 for that individual player. And then we're going to do a get, and we're going to check if it's valid. If it is valid, we're going to use an item. Now this comes from our battle UI BPI. We set this up a little while ago as a use item. The only thing I've added to it is an integer, which is our item slot, and that is this slot here we're setting, which equates to what item we're using within our battle slots. We then set the item slot to active, even though this should already be done. We just do it again anyway, just to be safe. And we then set the visibility of all of our buttons to hidden. And then that way we can't see them anymore, and that means we can't keep clicking things and breaking anything. Again, we do a similar thing here with the capture buttons. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So what this is doing is it's just taking an item that we want to use. It's getting its slot in the battle proxy, in the battle slots array from our inventory, and it's firing it through to our battle proxy. And then that way, the code can run, the battle can commence. If we go and open up our battle proxy, there it is there. I really need to organize this better, it's very messy. Okay, we then use this item event. So again, because way back in the series, we obviously in our class settings added that battle UI, we can now get this function from our BPI, the battle BPI, this use item event. So because we're using an item, we're going to say the player is going first. And because the player is going first, at the end, we can then move on to our enemies event. Now, this will change up slightly probably because I want to add in enemies using items. It'll follow a very similar path to this. It's just about determining whether an enemy needs to use an item. But we're only going to use that for me personally. I'm only going to use that in guilds, which is my equivalent of gyms. So only gym leaders will or rivals will use items. So I haven't really needed to set that up yet. But eventually, I will have to add in a little section to say, is it a gym battle? Yes. Does the is the enemy gym's creature below a certain health? If it is, they're going to use an item, so they're going to go first, and then we'll use the enemy um, item. So it'll basically just bypass the speed check. But that's something I will add in later on. But obviously, if you guys want to go ahead, all you need to do is just say, okay, does the trainer have an item, a healing item? If they do, is their current enemy creature below a certain health? Yes. Then use an item, and then bypass the speed check and just go basically straight into the enemy using an item, and then it's up to us whether we've used an item or whether we've done a move, for example. So let's move on with our use item anyway. So this is going to allow us to use an item in battle, so when we want to heal, etc. So we've obviously already got our third-person character reference. We do that as soon as the battle proxy is created. We're going to get that trainer information, and we're also going to get our battle item slots. We're going to run through that for each loop. This is where the item slot comes into hand, because we're going to check to see if it equals that array. So it's going to run through our battle slots until it finds the item we've used. And then we're going to do a branch check, obviously, and then we're coming off the true, because we don't want to use anything that doesn't equal that array index. We're going to break this information. We're going to get the battle item, because that's what we're using, and then we've got all our information we can use. Now, excuse me, I went over this a little while ago, but my battle item type is now an enum, so that we can basically determine what item we're using. So this battle item type is going to just determine whether we're using a healing item, a condition item, a status item, or a combo heal. Now the combo heal I'll explain in a moment, but let's work on the heal items first. So let's say it's a healing item. We're going to heal that Ringmon, and the health is going to go into that health increase. We also have to update our Ringmon party after every time we do something. That's so the game knows whether we've increased the health or we've taken away a status item. You know, the usual thing. We've done this when we're attacking before, but we're still following that same pattern of updating that Ringmon party for the game. So let's say we're healing an item, healing a Ringmon, sorry. All we're doing is we're getting our selected party, which is obviously our creature that's in battle. We're going to keep all the information the same, but we need to obviously pull out from this final stats. We're going to break it, and we're going to get our HP, and we're going to get our health increase and add them together. Now, we don't want to say we have a maximum heal of 60 and we have 30 health left, and we've just used a 50 potion. We obviously don't want to have 100 and whatever that is, 80 health. We want to have 60. So we plug this HP max into a clamp float, and the value we're going to is whatever this equals. So this plus goes into the value. The minimum will always be 1, but it will never be used because we're increasing. So the max health goes to the HP max, and that will basically stop it from going past that. So even if we add more than that maximum 60, it will only ever get to 60. That's why we do that. Now, we also are doing a check here to say, does our HP equal our max? If it's false, then we can heal. If it's true, we don't want to do anything. So that's what we're doing there. And then we are setting that member, which is HP, from the final stats. So we take our final stats, we set member, and that set member struct out goes into this make party info. I've done a print string here just so I know that I'm healing. And then we set that selected party mon so that we know that it's whatever changes we've made are set. So that when we do our update Ringmon, wherever we were just a second ago, let's go back here. Whether we do that update Ringmon, that selected Ringmon, when it goes back in, we know it's got the correct health that we want to see. Now, obviously, if this is false, it's not going to do anything, and it's just going to cancel out that event and not do anything. So what we need to do I've just realized to determine when it's false so that we can just move on to the enemy turn. Or if it's false, it doesn't do anything, so it doesn't move on with the game, so you can choose to do something else. What I'll do is will eventually add in a widget that comes up saying has no effect or something like that, and then you would choose to do something else. But I just realized I haven't actually put that in there yet, but that's fine. Healing condition, again, very similar situation here, where we're just checking to see whether we have a condition. Now, I've changed the item active status to have an any option. And the reason I've got an any option is so that when I come to use that in items, so for example, if we have heal all or full heal, which obviously gets rid of any status effect, sorry, it will check for this first. And basically determine whether we can heal. So there's an and here, and the reason for this and is we're checking to see if it's any or if it's equal to not none. So if we don't, it's checking to see if we do have a status effect. That's why we use the not boolean. So otherwise we'd have just used a none. Is it equal to none? But it's not. We want to see if it's equal not to none. If that comes back true, we can then use the healing item and add that to and change it to none. If it comes back that it's not set to any and it's not equal to none, our status effect, our creature status effect, just even, then it has no effect. And so again, we won't use that item. Again, this will be replaced with some form of a widget. If, again, as I said, if it isn't equal to none and it is any for the healing item, we can set it to none and we set our status and we set that selected party mon again. Hopefully I'm making sense here. If I'm not, give me a shout in the Discord and I will explain through it hopefully a little bit better. And of course, we also have a status item, which obviously increases our stats ability in battle. That should say stats up, not status up. And again, we increase that this specific stat. So if I go back for a step, sorry, from our battle item, we pull through this stat effect, and we're looking for any one of these. Now, excuse me. It's basically going to change everything. So it's looking for anything. So in the item, I can set, for example, attack to 1.1, which obviously would increase it by 10%. So we take that attack, we times it by our stat up value, which is this float value here. We times it, and then we retake that attack and we add whatever this is to that. So for example, if I have 20 and I times it by 0.1, which is 10%, we would get a value of 2 back. So it would take our original attack of 20 and add that 2 to give us 22, and it will go into the attack. And it does this for every one of them. Again, I still need to add in widgets to say this stat was increased, etc. And then what we do is we set that selected party mon again. And then we update our ringmon party. Now, if we have a combo, I would set that type to combo, so I know it's going to do multiple things. For example, we could have an item that heals 20 health, but also cures for burn, or cures for any condition. Or we could have it that it clears all of our conditions, but also gives us a speed boost. So it would do these two, and it would run through this, and then it would update our ringmon party. Those items are obviously going to be more unique and expensive in the shop, but either way, we can kind of almost do lots of different status effects to individual creatures in battle. And then we have a deduct quantity, which obviously is going to, now this is wrong. First off, this should be put into the battle item slot. I've just realized. There we go. Just realized that. So now we take our battle item slot, not our creature capture slot, and we deduct the quantity. So what this is doing is it's going to keep all the information the same. I realized I could also set the member here. I just realized that if you want it a bit easier. All we need to do is we are saying, okay, this needs to change to battle slots. God damn it. Rookie mistakes, always. Battle slots. There we go. So our battle slots come in. Our index should have saved them. And we check to find that index. Once we've found it, and we know we've got the right one, all we're doing is minusing 1 from that quantity, and then we're setting the array element from that index. The inventory should have saved. So the inventory comes in, that battle slots inventory comes in, we set the array element. We're also for each looping that, finding that item, minusing 1, and we're setting that index and that item within that array. Very basic but simple stuff that will minus your 1 off in battle. We delay for a second just to give everything a chance to catch up. So, for example, like the health bar percentage and things like that, or the status gets removed. We give it a second. To be honest, I would prefer actually to be a little bit longer, maybe a 0.5 second. Oh, didn't like that, did it? Oh, because I put a comma, that's why. 1.5, there we go. And then we run the enemy turn as normal, because they're going to still attack, assuming they're going to still attack. Okay, so that is using items in a nutshell. Now, again, I've already explained through this. There are a few things I need to amend, as you can see, but I've hopefully have explained those enough that you kind of see where I haven't added things in, and you can add them in relatively simply. I am very close to the end of the series. I think I keep mentioning this. I am very much on the last episode, I believe. I think we're going to cover shops next, and that's going to be probably about it for this series for a while, because I'm still quite far away myself from doing things like I'm still quite far away from doing things like breeding and hatching, and you know, I haven't got to the point where I'm setting up gyms yet. You know, there's still a ways to go for me in this game. So just bear that in mind, that, you know, once we've done shops, there won't be another episode probably for a very, very long time, because I need to concentrate on things for my game that I'm hoping to have in alpha testing next year. So I need to concentrate on a lot of world building and obviously promoting this game, and you know, just generally working on making things look better and play better. So I'm going to be doing a lot more in-house kind of tidying of code and just testing and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, we're going to cover shops off in the last episode, as a last episode for now. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this series. I know it was a bit rocky at the start, but hopefully with how things have gone since then, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you found it useful. But we've got one more episode to go anyway. So thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Much love. Take care. Bye.